Welcome to the College Basketball Pub Hub Show, Saturday, March 25th. Ian Cameron with you from pretty dull, dreary Canada. But down in San Antonio, warm, beautiful San Antonio, inside the beautiful, wonderful palatial studio known as Southtown 101. It's Conor Mack. It's Daby Cab. Guys, we've got the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. How are you guys doing? You've survived day one of Pubapalooza 2. How's it going, Conor Mack?
Oh, it's been great. Day one is down. Great basketball last night. Number ones go down. We're good. Volume's good. And tonight, great basketball. UFC. We got a tough one here. Going to UFC or stay live stream maybe basketball. We'll ask the chat.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys want us to go live for these basketball games tonight here at Southtown, or maybe we'll go to the fights. I want to go to the fights. I just didn't want some shitty ticket.
Yeah.
You don't want the nosebleeds, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. And also, I fucking love being live in the studio for these basketball games.
Yeah.
Cheers. I want to get C-Mac.
And
Cheers.
speaking of that, I've tuned into a couple of them too, these betcasts, since you guys have been in San Antonio. Last night, Thursday night as well, right here on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. That's good shit. You get everybody that's down there cheering on their bets and enjoying the action together, throwing back some pints. I mean, it's just that's the beautiful thing right there. No question about that. So, yeah, that's been fun, the betcasts.
Yeah, the booze is definitely flowing here. Jimmy's.
The booze is always good.
They cashed that whole crack in what? Full episode?
And still won the poker tournament.
Wow.
Yeah. He had a couple big river hands last
Jimmy's
night.
going to be hurting a little bit today from the looks of things.
I haven't heard from him.
It's a good thing for him to sleep in. He needs the day off, relax.
Yeah, he's earned it. He's earned it that much. Let's get your guys' thoughts on last night first, because we should talk about it just a little bit. Then we'll get into the 4 games this weekend. I mean, we did see 2 fucking number 1 seeds both get their ass beat, last night. Alabama and Houston both going down. I don't know what was more impressive. San Diego State just manhandling Alabama, just tightening up the defensive screws, making it uncomfortable for them. Brandon Miller was totally shut down by San Diego State last night. I don't know if that was more impressive, or Miami literally blowing Houston out of the gym last night as they ended up destroying the Cougars. That defense of Houston was completely shredded by Nigel Pack, who went off from 3-point range. It was a good game for Wong. It was a good game for Miller there on that Miami team. It was just an outstanding performance. And Conor Mack, I've said it. Cabby, I've said it about Jimmy Larinaga. You fucking bet against this guy at your own risk right now.
Yes. You know what? Real quick, all 3 of us, too, have been all over him really all year. And even the whisper, yesterday, Houston, I got to keep riding it. We will touch on them later. You saw the dynamic players that they have in the guard play. And I think this year is a little different from last year's Elite Eight team, where this is where they went down to Kansas. Another big one with Texas and 4.5-point dogs. I think it will be a little bit tighter this year. What do you think?
Man, and yesterday was the first time I didn't bet Miami this whole tournament. I've cashed on them this tournament. I've cashed on them all year. I kind of got Texas marked as my top team, and I think I'm going to be on Miami. We'll get into it, but, I mean, come on. This Hurricanes team, man, they're firing on all cylinders. And Wong started off a little cold at the beginning of the tournament, and he has definitely turned it on between him, Pack, and Omier down low. This Miami team, I actually said it earlier in the year. I said they're a Final Four team for me, so I'd like to see him finish that up.
What was great is Houston, they show their flaws, but I love how the defense was so good. Forced turnovers, fast break points. They talked about it. They were whatever on ESPN this morning, stuck in an elevator. He said that's how I need to, to be in the paint. Is be like you were in that elevator. And shout out to Miami. And San Diego State swarming. Let's touch on them. The defense, great. And Alabama, it's just this time of year they go down. Probably the worst game. You brought it up, Cab, when they just got blown out at Oklahoma.
Yep.
Nothing seemed to go down for them.
Yep, man. And like you said, that San Diego State team, what impressed me the most is just and this is going to sound weird. Size isn't something that should impress me. But Alabama is one of those teams that is lanky as a motherfucker. And they out-rebound people. They outsize people, and San Diego State didn't have a problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah. Mountain
No,
West.
they didn't. I mean, it was just really, and you know what's amazing about San Diego State? Matt Bradley had a shit game. He was like the best player on the Aztecs, did nothing for over 30 minutes. He got hot late, made a couple big shots late. We do have to give him credit for that, but they didn't get much out of him offensively at all, and they still beat Alabama. So it was very impressive in that regard from San Diego State. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks for hanging in there with us. We had to let Conor and Daby get into the studio. They're in now, so we appreciate you guys staying patient and being with us here as we got the show finally up and rolling here. Let's get into the regional finals. We got 4 of them, 2 today, 2 tomorrow. We'll begin in Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. New York City East Regional Final, Florida Atlantic, Kansas State. We got K-State 1.5, 2-point favorites, 143.5 the total in this game. I think one of the takeaways about the Elite Eight is guard play is coming back in style. Miami, good guard play. Creighton, good guard play. Kansas State, guard play. Florida Atlantic, solid in that regard as well. And you are seeing that now. The good guards are rising to the top right now. But the best player, I think, on the court for either side is a little bit hobbled coming into this game. And, of course, that's Marquise Noel, who powered through it with incredible guts, incredible heart, toughness against Michigan State with an ankle. He definitely rolled an ankle. He said after the game he got through it, was feeling a little sore, tweaking that ankle. He said he feels about 80 to 90% now. He said that after the Michigan State game. So this is now a couple days later. But obviously whether he is at 100% health or close to it is significant for Kansas State, because you actually saw a couple of minutes of that Michigan State game when he was on the sideline right after rolling that ankle, and the offense fell apart, for a couple of minutes there without him. So tells you how important Noel is for Kansas State. But I give the other guys credit around him for stepping up, and playing well also, because, look, Noel was great in that overtime win, playing through that ankle. But let's not forget about Keontae Johnson's 22 points, 6 big rebounds, and the way he played, or the incredible efforts from Cam Carter and Naquan Tomlin. I mean, those guys stepped up big time as well against Michigan State in that win. Florida Atlantic, they got here because of a very, very good defensive effort against Tennessee, a Tennessee team that we knew was a little bit limited offensively with no Ziegler, and we knew they weren't going to shoot the 3 ball like they did against Duke. That was an anomaly, and sure enough, they struggled to shoot the 3 against Florida Atlantic. This will be a little tougher, though, for Florida Atlantic's defense, just because they're such a fluid offensive team as K-State, and if Noel is even close to 80, 90, 100% health, going to be tricky here. I have the 2 futures, as most of you know, on these 2 teams to win the region. And I never thought in a million years I'd be alive with both of them here at this stage of the tournament. But I figured K-State at 12-1 and Florida Atlantic at 30-1. So I'm not betting the side. I have no reason to. I'm just going to sit back, watch one of these teams win, one of these teams cash my region future. But if I didn't bet those, I'll give you an opinion. If I didn't have them, I would still probably side with K-State a little bit, just because of, how much of a difference maker Noel can be, and I think he looked well enough after the ankle injury against Michigan State that has me, thinking he's going to be good enough to go and good enough to play at a high level today against Florida Atlantic. But it might be something you want to wait for a live bet on. As far as the total goes, I do lean a little bit over 143.5. It does kind of concern me. Kansas State was just in that crazy high-scoring affair with Michigan State. Sometimes it doesn't always translate to the next game, but I would still lean with over 143.5 as well in this one. Conor, we'll go to you with this one first. East Region Final, Florida Atlantic, Kansas State.
Real quick, we got to hit up our guy with 1999 dono, Charlie Bradshaw. Shout out to you.
Shout out, Charlie.
20 bones. Hell yeah, my guy. We appreciate the dono. And everyone else, AOD, BJ, Rick, Rocco, Troy, Michael, all our guys in here. JB, what's going on? Everyone in here. Hit the like button. As we always say, it's the least you can do around here. RVD 420, my man. It's going down. Andrew G, Jesse Gomez, Sammy Colmer. Hell yeah, Rodney. Shout out to everyone up in here. Why don't you take it away, Cap? I'm about to hit it here.
I got you. I keep getting a little bit of a streak noise when I lean close. I don't know if it's a headphone, so let me know in the chat, or if you guys hear.
Back then.
Yeah, just stay back. Can you hear me good from right here?
Yeah.
Am I good?
You're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. This is a game right here. It's going to be a lot of good defense. Wildcats putting up 75.8 points per game, 83rd. They're doing it at a 45.4% shooting clip. On defense, only giving up 68.7. Nice and above average here. This FAU team, though, thrives on offense. And C-Mac and I were talking about it. They've been a little cold. They've been winning this.
They haven't shot the ball well. I think that could be great tonight because both these teams are such good guard play. Real quick, I'll get it before you go on the total. Does this keep going over? K-State's been money really all year for me, and when I pick and choose to take their over. But let's look first half. We're almost hitting 68. There's still that 60% where these games go under first half at Madison Square Garden. Could that be in effect? I'm not going to play it. I just wanted to bring it up. And this is go to the Final Four. Defense a little bit more prevalent. I'm not so sure, but keep going.
Yeah. Well, on that shooting that we'll talk about, on the season, FAU's hitting 37.8% from three, 22nd in the nation, which is great. And they've been struggling. But, Tennessee, the one thing that they do have that I touched on, I was on Tennessee first half, so I kind of lucked out there and cashed. They did have the number one three-point defense in the country. So I don't see any reason why FAU isn't able to, hit some more shots in this game. I personally have been against Kansas State a couple times, and we all know how that's gone as they sit right here in front of us still. So I'm off this game. It's a tough cap for me, but if we're live, I definitely will get live action on this one.
Me too. I think we'll be live for this. Hopefully we will be. We will know here in a little bit. But I think they will have the looks. Can they get it down? You mentioned FAU all year, right around a top 20 team shooting it, three-pointer, almost 38%. They get to the line, you mentioned. And that's why I think there could be points, in the end, and it could get over. You know what? It's tough because I've been on Kansas State kind of this whole way. But, this is dropped to 1.5. All the money's on them. I think FAU might be in this game. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to bet it live. I don't think you need to make a move here and press it on kind of a coin flip, I think.
A really good game, excellent game. You know what? Kansas State, give them credit too, and it shows you how well they shot the ball. They got key stops and turnovers, but they got crushed on the rebounding battle by Michigan State. And that's going to be something to look for here today because Florida Atlantic does have some size.
They were great against Tennessee.
Yep.
Tennessee, team like that, Florida Atlantic, they're just a good team all around, this Florida Atlantic team. There's not a lot of holes, all year long.
And that's something that eventually that's going to, I think at some point you get just, you're getting beaten by double digits in the rebounding margin. I think at some point that might catch up to you. Will it today? I don't know. But what's making up for it? Marquise Noel's the passing from this guy. I mean, some of the passes he's making are sick. They're unbelievable. It's just incredible the way he's dropping dimes left and right, no-look passes, bounce passes right under the rim perfectly in stride with someone right under the basket. I mean, incredible stuff. Well, that guy can pass the basketball. Just a talented guard, and that's what you want at this time of year.
Ian, what you just made me think, because, we talked about his ankle injury and how serious it is. He said he's 80, 90%, so I'm sure he's fine. But I could see him coming out slow and having to turn it on second half of the game. So maybe if you're interested in FAU, go early and take the point because I think Noel turns it on towards the end of the game. Big players play at the end of the game. Late time is when you turn on, Dame times type shit.
And not to mention, I think if you're going to bet Noel props, maybe be leery of the point props. Look more to assists because I think he's going to be looking to facilitate. Like if you got an ankle issue, even if it's 90% healthy, you're not going to be looking to maybe put up as many shots. Maybe looking more to facilitate. So maybe Noel's more of a facilitator and assist maker than a point producer today for Kansas State because of that. All right, let's go to the second game today. This is the West Region Final, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be Gonzaga and UConn. I've got people on Twitter now that I saw last night saying this may be your de facto national championship, thinking this might be the two best teams still standing in the NCAA tournament. Don't know about that, but the two of the best teams anyway, UConn and Gonzaga. UConn 2.5-point favorites, 153.5 the total in this one. I've seen enough out of UConn to say, you know what? I don't want to step in front of these guys. I just don't anymore. And I've had my concerns all tournament with UConn, the guard play, but they've kind of fixed that. It's been good enough to get by. And more than anything, Sonogo's just he's playing like a absolute terror inside. I mean, they just took apart Arkansas 88-65 in that game. And to me, Jordan Hawkins has elevated his game. He really has. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
He only had 1 turnover against Arkansas, and they pressure the ball. He had 3 assists, but more importantly, he was red hot shooting, 6 of 13, 24 points. And if Jordan Hawkins plays at that level, makes UConn that much better. Sonogo, like I say, has been excellent scoring inside, rebounding, protecting the paint. All of that has been great from him. Tristan Newton and Andre Jackson have had nice tournaments for the Huskies as well. You know, they're just playing really well. And I think there's multiple matchups that can work here for UConn. This is going to be as tough a matchup that Drew Timmy's faced. He's going to have to see Sonogo inside. You know, I'm not going to say that that's going to shut him down completely because he's just so good with the footwork, you know, with his ability to finish around the rim. He's just very skilled, you know, offensively for a big guy, Timmy. But he's going to get some resistance more than ever before in this tournament from Sonogo. You look at how UConn defends the perimeter. Is Julian Strother and Rasir Bolton and company going to get those 3-point shots away against a team that is allowing 30% from 3-point range in their last 5 games, UConn? They have shut down the perimeter. So shooting of opposing teams as of late, there's no question. So, you know, that's a tough matchup. If Gonzaga's not, if Timmy's going to be neutralized somewhat inside by the big guy, Sonogo, and if that great UConn perimeter D, which is absolutely outstanding, believe it or not, they're playing better perimeter D now than they did for the full season. Their full season, UConn was giving up, 31.7% from 3-point range. Last 5 games, they're giving up 30.3, and they're 14th ranked in the country with their 3-point defense. So that becomes an issue. If Timmy's going to get neutralized and the perimeter is going to struggle because UConn has shut down the 3-ball, you know, how's Gonzaga going to maneuver offensively in this game? So the money's moved to UConn. I do like UConn here. I'd probably go money line though, as opposed to the 2.5. Totals wise, it could go either way. That's a high total, but man, UConn, we saw their offense explode against Arkansas, and we know Gonzaga is always going to look to push pace. They don't want to get into a half-court game with UConn. They want to get their shots off before that really tenacious Huskies defense sets up in the half court. So pace-wise, Gonzaga is going to want to go over. I lean to that over, but man, what's pretty high for a regional final game, 153.5. What do you think here, Conor? It's a pretty good game here, UConn Gonzaga.
Yeah, it's very good. UConn, this team has just been dominant. I mean, there's no getting around it. Real quick, Gonzaga, can Timmy have another one of these 36-13 type games? Because I think he needs a ton. Sonogo's been so good. Another game where I talked, you need over 20 at 18 and 8. And even their backup, if that Klingen guy, the big 7-foot guy, that guy's been great. I mean, they have Caravan 6'8",
Yep.
They're just the role players. It seems like they just are gelling. As good as I thought they were when they started 14-0, they look even better now. And yeah, all the money's on them. It just seems like I don't love that. And how many times I've told Cab, I think twice already today we were talking. How many times, Gonzaga is catching points now. Even though this team isn't great defensively, there's just that little thing like, they're a dog, they can score. But I can't take them, not when they're, outside top 75 defensively. I think UConn can get whatever they want. In the end, I think it's UConn or nothing. I can't go against them right now. And it's just, what do you think?
Dude, I'm in the same boat, man. I'm in the same boat. What C-Mac said about Gonzaga catching points, I mean, I'm sure you guys saw me. I took Gonzaga first half +1 in their last game. I got burnt, and then they covered the full game. It's hard. I mean, they're the number 1 offense in the country. They can put up a ton of points at any point in time.
We saw that against UCLA in that second half. They just – and UCLA
I like the way Gonzaga closed that game. They had that game, it looked like locked up 10 points with like 2 minutes to go, and they nearly coughed the whole thing up. That was a horrible finish for Gonzaga. They're fortunate they hung on.
Yeah.
Right. And
Strother bailed them out.
Yep. And like you guys said, with Timmy with the 36 points, 13 rebounds last game, but this whole tournament, he's been everything for this team. He's averaging 28.3 points in the tournament right now. So he's everything. And like C-Mac said, if they're able to shut him down low, especially if they shut him down, with their perimeter defense, I think this is a tough game. Only reason I haven't slammed UConn is because I don't like being with all the money here. All that being said, I will very likely be on the first half with UConn here.
real quick, and they're the last team. Texas is up there, but UConn, like I said, second all around, whatever defensively, depending on what stats, and 13th overall offense, and even top 10. So both those are big. Last team left, that's best, basically top 10, both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Yep. Texas, for anybody, and we didn't touch on this one yesterday. I think CMAC was on Texas. I was on Texas. It was a great game to have people around that were on the same side. But I keep saying this: Texas is one of the most well-rounded teams in the country. Do not look at their defensive stats over the season. Look at what they've done in the last 7 games. Before last night, the last 6 games, they were holding opponents to 58 points, 58.7 points per game. And think about the games they've been playing. That's Kansas in the championship. That's the best of the best, and they've been giving up under 60 points a game. That's fucking incredible.
Real quick, just the last note, I always like to touch it. Gonzaga, 69% free throws. UConn pretty good, almost 76. Could come into play here late in one of these games.
No, there's no doubt. Gonzaga did have a few missed free throws too in that game. Like Mark Few's not going to be happy about the way they closed that game because they almost just totally pissed it away. And like I say, if not for a Julian Strother bailout 3 with time running expiring, I mean, they would have lost to an undermanned, depleted UCLA team. Let's not forget that too. They beat an undermanned, depleted UCLA team, and they struggled at that to beat them. So this is going to be a lot tougher for the Zags here tonight, no question. All right, let's go to Sunday now. We have 2 more regional finals on Sunday. How about Creighton and San Diego State? Did anybody have these 2 teams playing in the regional final in the South region? I'm not so sure. Louisville, Kentucky. Creighton 1.5-point favorites, 133.5 the total in this one. Wow. Just an incredible win for San Diego State. Like I say, they just out-toughed Alabama. Their defense was stifling. They forced them into turnovers. They forced Alabama in a lot of rush shots. I thought Alabama was just forcing a ton of shit last night. Just flipping up these little hook shots at the rim and hoping they fall. And that's because the defense and the length of the Aztecs altered those shots. And you got to give them a lot of credit for that. I find this San Diego State team defensively, after what they did to Alabama, I'm thinking, look, I know they've got great guard play with Ryan Nembhard, with Trey Alexander. They're outstanding players, Creighton, in the backcourt. Absolutely they are. And Ryan Kalkbrenner is going to be a load. But, San Diego State has got some trees down there as well. I'm impressed with everybody right now. And the fact they beat Alabama with Matt Bradley playing his D- game because he didn't do anything until the end offensively. That's impressive. But they got that Ledee kid step up. Humdiddly D, Ledee. He had a good game last night for San Diego State. They got other players stepping up for them. Again, the rebounding was excellent. So, it's going to be tougher here for Creighton. Creighton got a Princeton team that kind of ran out of gas last night. We all talked about this all week, Conor and I, with the double-digit seed. Sometimes they have that great first weekend, and then it's the second weekend where reality sinks in, and that's kind of what happened to Princeton. And they had a real tough time on the rebounding battle with Creighton last night, and Creighton got the job done. But, I was just basically, when I saw this line come out, I said, it's probably a line where I'm going to be looking to take whoever the dog is. And that's probably still where I stand right now, especially when you're talking about a defensive dog, like San Diego State. It's hard to deny the way they're playing at the defensive end of the court at this point in time. So I think it's a real good game. It's going to be a tight one. But I just think you take the small 1.5 points with the team that's playing defense like the Aztecs are. I think that's the side I'm looking toward at the moment in this game. What do you think here, C-Mac? And this is probably, of all the games from a totals perspective, this is the under I could see hitting. This is the one that I could see being low scoring of the 4 games this weekend. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. C-Mac, how do you see it?
That's where I'm at here. Cue me up. And you can go full game, but I'll be on the first half. This is 62 right now. I'm going to take it because I think San Diego State take that defense. That's what's going to keep them in this game and maybe even, win it. I thought it was real team defense, just smothered Alabama. Alabama, it was cold. Miller was bad last night. And I don't know if they win it. I just like the under, first half under. Creighton, though, with Kalkbrenner, these teams played last year. I think even in the tournament. I'm going to double check and look this up. And it went to OT. I think it was like 72-69. So that was and the game was under. It would have got over now with it going to OT. So they're a little familiar. and San Diego State probably wants it back. Can a Mountain West team, go to the Final Four? I know our guy Jake Kaiser. Shout out to our guy. Always listens to us in the chat. He's a big Creighton, and they probably think they can get there. This is going to be a great basketball game. I leaned a little bit San Diego State getting the point and a half, but I will be on the first half under for sure.
Yeah. Let's be honest too. Creighton as well. Like they beat Princeton handily, but Princeton kept hanging around, and that's in spite of they got 21 from Baylor Shireman, they got 22 from Kalkbrenner, 19 from Trey Alexander, Arthur Kaluma, another one of their bigs, had a pretty solid game as well. They got all those contributions. They destroyed Princeton on the glass. And still at one point, that was like a 6-point game with 3 minutes to go. Like Princeton was still hanging around, even though they were getting destroyed, statistically in a lot of categories in that game. So I still think Creighton's going to have to be a little bit better in a lot of areas here in this game if they're going to advance. Cab, what do you think here, Creighton, San Diego?
Wait, real quick. I think their defense, it was just because San Diego State isn't that lighted up type offense. Because I think Creighton kind of looked soft a little bit against Princeton, but I think
Kalkbrenner's going to be challenged physically way more in this.
Yeah, this will be a slow down, rough it type fucking ball game. That's why
I agree. I like everything you guys have said here, and this will be on my card. I'm going to have San Diego State first half plus the points. I think it's low scoring, like C-Mac was saying. That game yesterday with Alabama, even when Alabama had open shots, they were shooting it so fucking fast because they were so worried about the perimeter defense of San Diego State. It was just incredible to see. I mean, I'm talking wide open looks, and they were throwing them up as quick as they could because of all the pressure San Diego.
Nobody was setting their feet and looking at the baskets. Like, just get the basket out, ball out of my hands as quick as possible. And they were rushing everything and missing a lot because of it. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was crazy to see. And it was like, if they can cause that kind of pressure for Alabama, I don't see any reason why they don't do the same for Creighton here. I think San Diego State, I think this is going to be a great game. I lean San Diego State full game, but getting points in the first half, that's where I'm at with this one.
Yeah, and not even like Menza had 5 blocks, but so many altered shots, were in that Bama game.
Right. But don't show up in the box score, but they matter big time.
Yeah.
The altered shots, yeah. And he had a bunch of those. And they got an explosion offensively out of Trammell, who had a terrific game for the Aztecs last night. 21 points, 9 of 16 shooting. And that's what you need. I mean, and look, I would buy stock on Matt Bradley in this game for San Diego State. Like, that was about as bad a game offensively as he's going to play for the Aztecs, and they still won. Don't count on that happening 2 games in a row, him being that poor shooting the ball. It's probably that's probably a prop I will bet is Matt Bradley over points for San Diego State. He'll be better in this game. That's probably not going to happen to him 2 games in a row. But yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, every time, how many times I was watching that game, I'm like, he didn't have to shoot the ball that quickly, I said about someone from Alabama. And it was because San Diego State made it that way, rushed them, sped them up with that length, with that size, with that just incredible rotation. They rotate defensively so well, San Diego State. They just don't give you room to breathe or find an open shot. And it's a big reason why they got the win last night for sure. All right, we're going to wrap it up with my team of the tournament. I love this team. I love this coach. I've not made any secret of it. The Miami Hurricanes, the U, taking on Texas. Texas 4.5 point favorites, 150 the total in this game. So I've got Miami to win this region. That's another one of my regional futures still alive. I thought they could make a little bit of a run in this tournament, and they are 20-1 for me, plus 2,000 to win this region. So I'm sitting on that. Do I let it ride or do I hedge with Texas? That's the big question I have to ask. If I hedge with Texas, I got to lay minus 175 on the money line. And I'm not sure I want to do that here. I'm just letting the thing ride. How can I not? I mean, I have faith in Miami. I have faith in their guard play. I have faith that they just move the ball so well, they can break down even a great Texas defense. If you move the ball well like Miami does, did you see the way they were just dissecting and just picking apart Houston? Houston tried to press them because they were down so big in the second half. That's the worst thing you could do to Miami because they got ball handlers all over the floor. You can't press those guys. They don't get flummoxed under it. They don't turn it over. Larinaga is just an outstanding coach. I finally hope he gets his due because nobody ever talks about him as one of the best head coaches in college basketball. Yet for 15 years, he's taken George Mason to a Final Four. Miami basketball's finally been pretty good, pretty consistent ever since he got there, and it was a disaster before that. It's all Larinaga. He's been great. Pack's been awesome, Wong, and don't sleep on some of the other supporting cast that Miami has. Having O'Meara healthy in the paint has made a big difference because finally they got a little rim protection now, which has made all the difference in the world. They've had some of their other cogs stepping up nicely for them as well in this tournament. So they've become a nice, well-rounded team. They make their free throws. And don't forget Jordan Miller and Poplar. Poplar hit a huge three, too, when they were starting to separate from Houston last night. So this is a really good Miami team. And to me, I'm baffled by this line because just think of last night, Texas was laying the same number, 4.5 to Xavier. Are you telling me Xavier's an equal to Miami? There's no way. There is no way in my mind Xavier is as good as Miami. But this line is telling you they are. Because if Texas should be laying less than this, because Miami's better than Xavier to me. To me, it's not even a question. Miami's a better team than Xavier. So how the hell is Texas laying the same number they did against Xavier last night as they are here against Miami? This line's out of whack to me. Even if I didn't have the future on Miami, I'd look at Miami here, +4, +4.5. I believe in this guard play. I believe in the way they're coming into each game. Their defense is slowly starting to get better as well. Let's not forget, Houston was in a big drought, which allowed them to pull away in the second half yesterday. So I like Miami plus the points, even if I didn't have Miami to win the region already pending. Like I say, if Texas was laying 4 last night to Xavier, they should only be laying 2 here, in my opinion. They probably should be like a 1.5, 2-point favorite, not 4. Not in my opinion. So I like Miami here. Cab, we'll start with you, Cab, for this one. Miami, Texas.
The first thing that jumps out at me here, and you guys know I'm not a totals guy, is the under. I know that we look at both of these offenses and think they can really put up points, but I was just saying it. Until last night, Texas has only given up 58.7 points in their last 7 games, and Miami, not known as a great defensive team, was very impressive their last game on defense. They've been impressive lately on defense. I think Larinaga's got them turning it up, like you're saying. I think the under is a pretty good look in this game. And then obviously everybody knows, if you followed me the last 2 years, Miami first half is something I've probably bet more than anything else. And I very likely will get there on this one. I've just said it. I think Texas is one of the most well-rounded basketball teams in all of college basketball. And that's one of the things that would worry me about this.
What about Dylan, the big guy?
Dylan Dessou, got injured and did not return. He was in a boot after that game. And
I think
they've got other guys in the paint like Timmy Allen and company, and they've still got some other size in the paint, but they will miss Dessou. There's no question about that. It's going to put more pressure on Timmy Allen. It's going to put more pressure on Christian Bishop, Dylan Mitchell, and those guys. I also want to shout out their backcourt, though. Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter. They're pretty damn good, too. I mean, for as much as we talk about Miami's guards, those 2 guys have been balling in this tournament. Marcus Carr has been sensational, and Tyrese Hunter had a big game last night against Xavier. So can't sleep on those guys either. They're a good team, and Rodney Terry deserves all the credit in the world. He picked this team right up after the debacle with Beard, and, man, they've look at the great season they've put together. Conor, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think that's key. That's why I brought it up with the big guy. He just he scores 15 a game. I mean he's a big part because then but gets a little pressure off down low because I wanted to bring up Hunter and Carr. Guards here in the finals when you get down to these top teams. That's what matters here in college basketball. I don't know about that under. I don't know if I'm gonna mess with that total with this guy being out. I'm gonna get to that tomorrow and look into it a little bit more. But is this just still more disrespect? I told you last year the Elite Eight game against Kansas, and they got blown out by 20, and I was on Miami. Well, I'm going to stay on them here, and because I think they're a different team. I think they're more mature. Like last year, there's still something wasn't there, and they were sloppy. Like how I saw them play defensively last night. I think they can do that against Texas. Still, overall, I think Texas might be just a little bit better, but 4.5, and this is dropped. There's 4s now, basically, a lot of places. Me, Canes are kind of nothing here.
That's how I feel too.
And I like Texas. So,
and in that game that they lost to Kansas, weren't they up pretty big at half?
They were up a little bit early, but they got blown out
in
the second. Okay. They got. I'd have to double check. They got ripped. Second.
That would have been. There's been a lot of shocking moments in this tournament. The fact that they not only beat Houston, but they totally ran them out in the second half. I honestly didn't see that coming. And I had Miami plus the points last night. I thought they'd win a squeaker. I thought they'd win a tight one. They'd pull it out late. I didn't think they would absolutely just destroy Houston in the second half like that. And keep in mind, Sasser played. Sasser said he was just about close to fully healthy again, and they beat a fully healthy, ready to go Houston team. So that was damn impressive. There's no question by Miami yesterday. But Texas is really good. Like this will be a team that you would think gives Miami some resistance defensively, Texas, because they've been playing terrific team defense. But I thought Houston would be a tough defensive matchup, and they shredded Houston's defense. So that's going to be the question here. Can Texas do defensively what Houston could not?
Yeah, can they? I don't know here. That's why I think the total is pretty sharp. But I think these teams are so efficient. They're good free throw shooting teams. They're and the guard play. I mean, I think in the end it still could get over this number. So
there's some truth to that about Houston with the schedule. Okay, the AAC this year in college basketball was a disgrace. There really wasn't any great teams. What was the next best team in the AAC after Houston? Memphis, and we know how mediocre and up and down Memphis was this year. That was a weak league. That was a weak conference this year. That was not a great AAC, and maybe Houston paid the price for it finally against Miami.
I think that if Kendrick Davis didn't get hurt at the end of that game, Memphis would still be playing right now. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. It's possible. And if they hadn't had that stupid brain dead turnover either when they had the lead in the final minute of that game against Florida Atlantic,
there's
a ridiculous turnover that was. Just threw it in the middle, and it's what gave Florida Atlantic a shot to come back. See, that's how close it could be. Could be Memphis today, maybe against Kansas State in the regional final. You never know. That's how close it can be in the NCAA tournament. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I know we were late getting started as we waited for Gabby and Connor to get into the studio, but everybody stuck around. I love seeing it. I didn't see anybody leave the chat while we waited to get going. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning on this college basketball pub show. Cab and Connor have a fun, exciting, drunk-filled Saturday ahead of them. So we're going to let them get to it, and we're going to wrap this thing up in a couple minutes with best bets right after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. Southtown 101, you see it there. Connor and Cav live and in person from Southtown 101, the best studio in the business. Southtown 101, San Antonio. Make sure you stop in year round.
It looks great too. I was telling Cav, you're missing it. It's all kind of redone. It's looks great, top notch.
Absolutely, and it looked good. I remember last year when for the first Public Blues, I was impressed. If it's been redone and improved since then,
the outside here too, it's all redone nice. It's all it
looks good.
Yeah, I can only imagine then. That's just, like I say, it's the best studio going. Southtown 101 is a pretty damn good sports bar too. So make sure you check it out. Southtown 101, San Antonio, Texas, live music, DJs, karaoke, and more. Southtown 101, Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code PubSports. All right, best bets to wrap it up. And this is, again, our only show this weekend. We decided we're going to just do one show and all 4 games today. So the best bet can be from any of these 4 games today or tomorrow. Connor Mack, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
Yeah, I didn't know what Cav was going to go with. Everyone knows. We all are, I think, Miami. So I'm not going to give that. But that under, because I already bet it, 62 first half here, San Diego State, Creighton. It's just a couple points too high. So I don't mind full game. And I had both last night, and that was all the shenanigans with the fouling late. I was able to get that in the San Diego State game, but the first half was a lot easier. I'll just I'll stick there with the under 62.5.
Good stuff. Great in San Diego State under 62 first half under for Connor Mack best bet. Cab, what do you got for best bet?
I'm going to go back to what I was doing a little bit ago. I'm going to throw out 3 since we got 2 days.
Woo!
You know, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to bet it and I'm going to be with you guys. I'm going to go UConn first half. Okay. I'm going to take UConn first half today. I'm going to take Miami first half plus the points tomorrow. And then I'm going to take San Diego State first half plus the points tomorrow also.
There you go. 3 first halves right there. UConn, Miami, San Diego State for Cab for best bets. My best bet. Look, I'm gonna stick with them. They've been that good. Jimmy Larinaga +4. I don't think the 4.5s are there anymore. I'm pretty sure of that. It looks like it's 4 across the board now with that game, but I still like it at 4. In actually points bet. Points bet has it at 4.5 minus 1.
I thought there was a
GM still has 4.5 as well. So. Good stuff there. Couple 4.5. So we'll go with that. Miami Hurricanes. How can we not? +4.5 against Texas. Again, to me, Miami's better than Xavier. So how the hell is Texas also laying 4 to Miami as they did Xavier when Miami to me is better than Xavier? To me, the line is win or lose. This is value on Miami the way they're playing right now. Miami +4.5 against Texas for my best bet for this Elite 8 regional final weekend in the NCAA tournament. That's a wrap. We appreciate everyone joining us. Hit that like button on the way out. Cab, Connor, it's time to have your fun now. Work is over. Now it's time to play. Yeah.
Well, no, dude. I love, talking college basketball, doing this. And we'll let everyone know on Twitter, everything. We will be live, I think.
Yeah.
Something with one of these games, tonight.
If you're in the chat, man, and you don't tune into the live shows, come kick it with us. We make bets, halftime bets. We make live bets. And it's a good time. So come hang out with us. We'll be live at some point for these games. And like C-Mac said, we'll post it. We'll let everybody know on Twitter.
Definitely.
There you go. That's an invitation to everyone. Stay tuned. Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel this weekend. Live bet stream live from San Antonio from the studio inside Southtown 101. So make sure you stay tuned for that this weekend. We wish everyone out there in San Antonio a great rest of Pubapalooza too. I'm crestfallen I'm not there. But I know everyone down there is going to have an awesome rest of the weekend. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. For Connor Mack, for Cab, I'm Ian Cameron, and Jose, great job behind the scenes. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday and Sunday and Elite 8 weekend. Cash some tickets. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back during the week with the Net Profit Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.